It's Evan and Tiki with Sean Morash and Tiki Barber here, live for the next 4+ hours. Good afternoon, Tiki.
You were not entertained, Sean? Were you not entertained by Aaron Boone?
I was entertained by Little League last night, not by Aaron Boone.
Okay, stop rubbing it in. Massapequa beat the crap out of Florham Park, but we're going to beat Rhode Island, and we're going to get you again. By the way, it's only single elimination in the final, so we're going to get you back,
right?
Sean.
All right, Friday night, we'll see you.
So Aaron Boone in the 8th inning, he goes out. He's already tossed, so he's going to go get his money's worth, as they always like to say. And he's screaming at the home plate umpire, Laz Diaz, who was horrendous last night.
Right. Nothing new for him.
Horrendous. His strike zone was wide as the Grand Canyon, and even though the one that Boone ran out on was actually a strike, it was bad. I think that the stats tell you 17 of his 50 called strikes were wrong, and his success rate was significantly off all night long. So Aaron Boone had an argument. So when he goes out there, he makes a mockery of Laz Diaz, and then the coup de grace is that he gets up there and he mimes the strikeout, right? It was actually
does the hoo-ha
exactly.
with his hands, right?
It was actually entertaining. It was entertaining, albeit desperate, Sean. And
that's it.
I you know what? I didn't mind it because I think Aaron Boone has come to the realization that this team almost every night needs someone or something to take them out of their sleepwalking nature. And he tried to make it him. Now he's arguing the right things. I thought it was funny. That was the most entertaining part of the game for me, to be honest with you.
No doubt it was. It certainly wasn't getting no hit into the 6th inning like they were last night before Dylan Cease finally gave up the hit and then got taken out. That was certainly the most entertaining part. Here's the problem, Tiki. This is why it's embarrassing and I think a bit of an admittance here from Aaron Boone.
Admittance?
I think it's an admittance that for the first time, I think Aaron Boone himself is feeling the pressure and feeling like change is coming to the Yankees. And if you look around, if you had to pick a likely candidate, it's him. And that could be fair or unfair, and I've had my issues with Aaron Boone, but overall, if I had to list the order of Yankee problems, Aaron Boone still isn't at the top of it. And I've appreciated Aaron Boone's fire in a lot of these moments. I mean, going back to the Savages in the Box thing, Aaron Boone has shown real passion. I love his ejections. It makes baseball fun. It makes baseball exciting. But last night, for the first time, while you called it funny, and yes, okay, yeah, the mimicking and everything can be funny, I felt kind of sorry for him, and I felt embarrassed for him.
Why? Why embarrassed? And let me back up or sidestep here for a second. It sounds like you're saying Aaron Boone's getting fired.
I think that. I don't want to have not the strong take here. I believe that Aaron Boone believes for the first time he may get fired. I'm still uncertain which way the Yankees go because ultimately, if they're not going to get rid of Cashman, do they want to do this whole thing and have him hire another manager? I'm not sure. But the bottom line is this, Tiki, and according to Fangraphs, the Giants, see, I'm already turned the football here. The Yankees can only afford 17 more losses if they plan on winning 90 games, which is what Fangraphs expects them to take to the playoffs. You kept harping about it's only 3.5, it's only 3.5. Well, 3.5 became 4.5, became 5.5. And last night versus an awful White Sox team that is the epitome of dysfunction right now with their own players not having Tim Anderson's back. With Kenyon Middleton talking about guys sleeping in the bullpen like he did. The White Sox are like the team that you should be stomping out right now because it seems like nobody in that clubhouse even likes each other. And the Yankees threw out a lineup last night that included Aaron Judge, and they were no hit for most of the game. I mean, I think Aaron Boone looks at it. They are dead bats. They are dead everything. Diaz wasn't great, but I think that last night's Aaron Boone ejection was not just about Laz Diaz. I think it was about himself understanding how much more can I put out there, and these tirades and these little moments that he has, while appreciative and while looking for something to spark, they're kind of falling on deaf ears now.
Yeah, well, you mean from the player standpoint,
yes!
It does feel like
the players
they are
aren't reacting to this,
falling on deaf ears. But I look at it and I say to Aaron Boone, keep doing it, man. Sometimes you have to be a little bit out there. Sometimes you have to go an extra mile to be, I don't know, foolish or entertaining or demonstrative. You have to try something. He can't just sit back and quietly take it. kind of like Buck is with the Mets.
Yeah.
Right?
Buck looks
is
like he's reserved for the end. I agree.
That's right. He's just kind of just sitting back. He's like, I'm just going to fade away. Now, interestingly, I don't think the Mets are going to fire Buck, but Buck just sits back and he's taking everything that's happening to him, whether it's the underperformance, whether it's the injuries, the bad luck, whether it's the hit by pitches, all that stuff.
Buck has a look on his face right now of, hey, I don't know what more you want me to do here.
He's basically saying, what do you want me to do?
Right.
I'm not playing.
And Aaron Boone is still trying and grasping at it.
And I love that. I appreciate that from Aaron Boone.
But can you
to be honest,
appreciate it and then still feel like, this guy even knows? He knows. There's not much more left that Aaron Boone could do for this team.
No, there's not. But
if you roll out the White Sox and you can't get a hit.
But he's trying, and that's what I appreciate most about Aaron Boone. He's actually trying to impart some kind of energy into this Yankee team, this Yankee lineup. It's the moments like the bases loaded in the 7th, and they come away with nothing. Now Andrew Vaughn had an unbelievable play at first base because I think that would have been at least 2 runs.
And IKF is another half step away from beating that.
Exactly. So there's a lot that went on that didn't have to do with Aaron Boone, and it's the reason that they lost. But I look at Aaron Boone. And maybe this is because we had him on a week and a half ago, and I like the guy, and I think he's trying his best. But Aaron Boone is going to give it to you until he's told it's not his job anymore. And I can't help but appreciate that. I can't.
I appreciate it, but it doesn't mean I'm not watching it and I'm not done laughing. My embarrassing feel for him, or lack of laughter as he's doing it last night, isn't that I'm anti-Aaron Boone.
So were you laughing or were you cringing?
I cringed. I cringe, especially when the replay showed that of all the plays or of all the pitches, that was a strike.
No,
Now, look, he had a million others he could argue. It wasn't about that one pitch. I understand that. But I've seen so many of these tirades now, in the end, result in nothing in response for the team.
Yeah.
So that's why I cringe, because it's just more of, this is all we have left.
Yeah, you're right.
This is all we have left is Aaron Boone throwing these tirades.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that he cares. I appreciate that he has fire, which is more than I can say for what appears to be most of the team.
Yeah.
But can I see a little tirade and a little anger when Giancarlo Stanton is haphazardly rounding the bases? You know what I mean? There's other ways to get fired up or show fire with the team. That last night, just here it is.
Yeah.
It's like clockwork. The team stinks. Here's another Aaron Boone ejection. It's falling on deaf ears even for me as a fan now.
So to agree with you a little bit, the Volpe strikeout, that was the one that he should have done it in an inning. I think I said 7th inning they had the bases loaded. It was the 6th inning they had the bases loaded. And the 7th inning was the DJ strikeout with the guys on the corners.
Yes.
The 1st and 3rd, 0-2. I mean, that thing was at least half a foot outside the strike zone, and DJ gets punched out. That's when he should have come out, right? In that moment, and where runners in scoring position, DJ's trying to wait for a good pitch, and you get called out, or he couldn't. If he swung, his bat wouldn't even gotten close to it. That's when he should have come out. And but at the same time, I look at Aaron Boone, and I know in his heart he knows that this team is simply just underperforming.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that Giancarlo Stanton is shot. I don't think that Anthony Volpe is a shell of what all that expectation was.
Right.
I don't think DJ sucks. Right. I don't think any of this stuff is actually
DJ's
true.
Getting older. And by the way, I think Josh Donaldson's shot. But yes, for those other guys, I agree.
Josh is on the 60-day. We're not even talking about him.
And Anthony Rizzo was another guy, by the way, we clearly see what was going on for 2 months.
I think Aaron Boone, not Judge, Aaron Boone knows that these guys have more in them, and he has no idea. Maybe this is the indictment. He has no idea how to bring it out of them.
Yes. You nailed
idea.
it. That's exactly it. He's out of answers on how to bring. So his go-to thing is, I show fire, I show passion, I'm going to take it out. But I think Aaron Boone sat in that dugout last night, bubbling over, frustrated by terrible umpiring, frustrated by what's become a season that continues to get away now at 5.5 games, frustrated by he knew that, again, off of those 10 games we just talked about, now they're going to play the crap White Sox, and they're getting no hit for most of the game.
Yeah.
He's out of answers, and it reminded me last night, and it's apples to oranges, I get it. It felt like Joe Judge. It felt like Joe Judge running the ball up the gut where Aaron Boone now for weeks.
That's a gross comparison.
It is. But I appreciate Boone more than I appreciate Judge in this. For weeks now, Aaron Boone has had to answer for all of this stuff where we haven't heard as much from Cashman.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Boone has had to defend players that aren't worth defending, including Giancarlo Stanton.
Yep.
And we've gotten frustrated because we haven't liked the answers. It's so much like when Dave Gettleman left Joe Judge with a heaping pile of you-know-what. And there's Joe Judge, getting pounded, and he basically gives the last embarrassing FU to the front office and everything, and was fired, and he snapped at that press conference at the end.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Boone's a ticking time bomb with all of this, and I think you saw the first cracks of that, and we still have 2 months left to go.
Yeah, I also see him in the post game, and he even admitted it. He's like, "Yeah, I guess I heard that last one was actually a strike." But in the post game, he composes himself. And
yes,
you know what I mean? He's not going off the deep end like you saw with Joe Judge. And he basically talked his way out of the Giants head coaching job. Joe Judge did. And John Mara had no choice but to move on and basically strip the whole thing down, get a new GM, new head coach. I don't think that's the case with Aaron Boone.
Not yet, but we could be heading there.
I think, and we've seen this a lot. I mean, he's been tossed how many times this year? 4 or 5? 6?
Six, I think, yeah.
6 times this year. He's been tossed a lot. And it's not impacting anything.
And as Tommy just tells me, he leads baseball.
Leads baseball in ejections. And by the way, baseball, you're not supposed to get ejected anymore. Like, you're not supposed to be able to argue balls. You're not supposed to be able to argue any of these things. And yet he's been tossed 6 times.
Yeah.
And it screams of desperation. He's desperately trying to get something out of his players. But at some point, we have to stop looking at Boone. We have to give Cashman, the not the pass, but it's not on him. It's these guys on the diamond every night that aren't getting it done.
Yeah.
Eventually, they're the ones they're going to have to get the ire, not the head coach, or not the skip, and not the general manager.
I think they are, but they're the groceries that Cashman still bought. I mean, so that's where I don't think Cashman gets the pass.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
you're right. You're right.
If you got maggots and something else, you don't expect the chef to cook a great dinner, and that's exactly what Boone is. I couldn't think of anything else to go with maggots. But anyway, 877-337-6666. Kevin in Hillside. Kevin, you're on the fan. What's going on?
Hey, guys. How are you?
What's up, Kev?
Nothing. I'm a big Giants fan, and my comparison was Boone to Tom Coughlin, but I should have went the Joe Judge route. I guess he was so bad I tried to block those 2 years out of my head.
Yeah, Boone is better than Joe Judge, but it's elite. I'm just seeing the signs of the end of Joe Judge here.
For sure, and that's why I called up for the comparison to Tom Coughlin when it seemed like he was making those excuses for Odell's antics.
That's a good point.
That's a good comp.
That's where I see it from. But it's embarrassing. It's cringeworthy to see Aaron Boone do all of this, and yet still in those press conferences say, hey, you know what? Even though we had 18 strikeouts, we were there. Right? I felt really good about our hitting. The guy's a joke at this point. He really is. I was never an Aaron Boone fan, to be honest with you. But now this guy is pushing me further away from him. He's got to go. Cashman's got to go. The players, listen, I think there's still something in those players. They didn't forget how to play ball. Stanton didn't forget how to run. He just chooses not to, whether it's because of his injuries or the coaches can't get it out of him. Just get new coaches, new GM in there, and we're set. We're fine.
God, man, but Kevin, you're talking about ripping the whole thing down and starting over. That's just not possible. Well, first of all, Cashman's not going anywhere. As much as Yankee fans may despise what he's done over the last few years, he's not going anywhere. He's just on a 4-year deal. The players, most of them, honestly, I think he'll have a rebound season at some point. Now, what can you change? It's the manager, and that's probably the easiest change. And if Aaron Boone is going to be acting the way that he did last night after he got tossed, you got to believe he's starting to think that as well.
He definitely, it's in his mind. You can't convince me otherwise. You can't convince. Aaron Boone is not an idiot. We know this at a bare minimum. He's not an idiot.
No, of course not.
He's a smart guy. He knows and observes.
Long-time baseball man, family, all that stuff.
Of course, and he gets the business aspect of it all. And there's got to be something when you're in a profession and you're doing all you can and you're trying to pull out all the stops and it's still not working. It's still not the answer. That has to be an insane internal mental pressure on you.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be a frustration beyond belief, especially when there are veterans. It's not just young kids. They'll figure it out in a couple of years. It's veterans who should be able to perform in certain situations, especially against a guy, and you bring up Dylan Cease, who's not having a great season. In fact, they said this multiple times on the broadcast. Cease's having a rough season, no hit in the Yankees, but the Yankees have made a job of that this year.
Yeah, every bad pitcher looks at the Yankees as homecoming. They do. It's been a story all year. Steven is in Harlem. Steven, you're on the Fan.
What's up, Steven?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're good.
All right. Longtime fan. Glad to see, things got mixed up a little bit and wishing everyone the best of luck here.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Of course. I'm really holding out hope for the Yanks still. I'm giving it about 2 more weeks, but my call is to say if things continue this way, I think all of us should trade our Yankee hats for Cub hats, and I'll tell you why.
Cub hats?
Cub hats.
Come on now.
And I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
Starting with their offseason, what did the Cubs do? They got a left fielder, and they signed a shortstop. What would the Yankees look like if they did that? First of all, they'd have a left fielder, and second of all, they would be able to have more trade leverage because you have Torres, you have Volpe, you have Peraza, all these infielders that we could have used in deals. And then speaking of deals, this trade deadline, they go and they get Candelario to play third base. He's absolutely raking.
Now, Steven, be real here, though. If the Yankees were in the NL Central, they're probably leading the division, too.
Right. But listen, I understand our division's tough, but those are 3 key guys the Yankees could completely use right now. And even just one of them would have changed the story. Cubs went out. They made these moves. They just stepped away from Theo Epstein. Who steps away from Theo Epstein? And it's just like the Yankees are just caught in this trench with Cashman, and the Cubs are running laps around him. Cubs are running laps around
Steven,
the Yankees.
can I ask you on that point, why would that mean we want to turn in our Yankee hats for Cub hats?
Well, I don't think we're going to watch baseball in October.
I see what you're saying.
So root for the team that did all the moves the Yankees should have in October? What are you, out of your mind?
Yeah, just to stick it to Cashman.
Believe me, I think the Rays or Orioles making a run would stick at the Cashman a lot more than the Cubs making a run.
Cubs and the Yankees have the exact same record right now?
Yeah, exactly. Mike is in Ridge. Mike, you're on the Fan.
What's up, Mike?
Pinky, come on. Stop with this Aaron Boone thing, man. This is a joke. It's 3 years of doing this. 3 years of leading the league in ejections, and then he's soft as anything else when it comes to resting players and being politically correct in these post-game interviews. Let me give you a stat.
But Mike, would you rather have him throw his players under the bus every other week?
I would rather have him play his players and put the best team on the field that he can every day, not rest people 3 times a week. It's a joke. Let me give you a stat real quick. Aaron Boone, 6 years, 800 games in the bigs, 32 ejections. Harry Francona, 23 years a manager, 50 ejections, 5 times the games. I'll give you another World Series manager, Dave Roberts, 1,200 games, 10 years a manager, 10 ejections. Aaron Boone is not firing up the team. Aaron Boone is looking like a complete clown, and he has let this team get away from him. It's bad management, bad ownership at this point. No one's going to get fired. Aaron Boone looks like a clown. The Yankees look like clowns. I'll let you comment, boys. I can't do it.
Look, last night, I think he was intentionally trying to look that way. Now, you might be right, and there's a lot of ejections. That's a lot. That's a big number over the course of his tenure here, and it's not anywhere near Terry Francona that you were talking about. But I think last night he was doing it as a mockery. I was laughing as he was doing it because I felt like he was doing it on purpose. Sometimes you see these skips get out there and they're acting crazy and they're trying to get ejected.
Kicking dirt.
Yeah,
right.
Kicking dirt, like the whole Billy Martin thing. But I think he was doing that intentionally to highlight how bad Lex Diaz was last night.
He's drawing the line on the plate, and he's basically doing that thing. And by the way, the still frames didn't do Aaron Boone any favors. I've had those moments in videos where you still shot something. Looks like you have a bunch of chins. I totally get that. But look, here's the only thing I would say. Last night, I just thought it was more about the Yankees and Boone's acknowledgement of that, and it was about so much more. I can't get on Boone for constantly getting tossed from games and ejections when what would we be saying if, and you brought up Buck Showalter. Yeah. We used to say this about Girardi when he didn't get tossed a lot too. Or Torrey. He just sits there. Go do something. You also can't have it both ways.
Right.
But when it gets that theatrical like it did last night, in the midst of what the Yankees are going through, knowing how important, again, last night was, because every game's important, it just gets to a point where you can't help but feel embarrassed for for Aaron Boone.
Yeah.
I think at this point.
I just felt like it was on purpose. I really did. He had it in his mind what he wanted to do to try to make a point and make a lasting point. And if he was actually thinking that, he did a great job because that will be a lasting image. You're right. That picture was very not flattering.
Yeah, not flattering at all. And
Not
again,
flattering,
I've
still
been
shot.
there. I've been there.
In real time, it was funny. Like the video of it was funny.
Right.
The still image, not flattering.